Hello and welcome to another episode of Leaders of Transformation. Today we're going to be talking with Suzanne Gundersen. She is a holistic stress relief mentor and energy healer. And over the last 10 years, she has helped women from all over the world to relieve anxiety, chronic stress, and build confidence. Hello, those are topics that are really relevant today. So Suzanne, welcome to Leaders of Transformation. We're excited that you're here today.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, and we're also excited that the listeners that you're here, people that are watching the video online. We're really glad that you're here because I always say this. You're the reason why we do this podcast. I love hanging out with great people. Suzanne and I can have a great chat offline, but to be able to share it with you is to equip you with the tools you need to enjoy your life, to be able to be more successful and fulfilled in your life, but also to realize that you can make a difference and you can be the difference maker and world changer as well. And so just even thinking about it and saying, wow, she's doing that and look at the impact that she's been able to make. How can I make an impact? What do I have that I can bring to the table? And I just really encourage you, if you're listening out there, to ask yourself a question if you're not already doing it. And if you are, awesome. We'd love to hear your story. So you can go on leadersoftransformation.com, find us on social media, and tell us what you're up to. We'd love to hear it. And also, if you enjoy this episode afterwards, please leave us a rating and review. It helps us to get a wider reach. We have listeners in 120 countries, and we want to continue to extend that out. So we appreciate that. All right. So Suzanne, let's talk about, you're an energy healer, stress relief mentor. Tell us a little bit, unpack that a little bit for us into what you do. Why you're passionate about that.
So I think that we're living in this day and age where we are just coming unraveled from a lot of conditioning that we've grown up with that has left, our families and groups and jobs and cultures and religions keeping us safe to a certain degree. And we're coming into our own way and own sense of being able to engage ourselves in the world. And there's a kind of we're in the hallway, I call it, the hallway of life, where we kind of have left the one room and now we're moving into a new room, but the new room hasn't really shaped up yet. We don't have it decorated yet. We're not sure if it's the right door yet, but we're just kind of in the hallway. And that is a process of really helping, a process of our learning who we are and our choices and what's important to us and what we value and what our personal value is. And a lot of that comes across in life as a little bit of an identity crisis, a little bit of well, who am I if I don't have this thing that I could attach to from the past? So there's a lot of anxiety with just the nervousness of, can I really be who I truly am and share myself authentically? And so I really help women specifically to be able to embrace this journey for themselves, to be able to honor where they came from, to say, thank you so much. You got me here. It got me to this place. But this is who I am learning that I am, and be able to safely express that to the world and really have the confidence and feeling comfortable everywhere they go to be able to do that. So in the journey, there's a lot of, anxious moments, a lot of overthinking moments. So I help women to relieve anxiety on demand, quit overthinking, calm the mind, settle into the body, be able to build that inner wisdom and resiliency. That way you can have that confidence to express themselves. So it's kind of it seems really big, but it can be just as simple as, just one step in front of the other, and building that confidence muscle inside.
Yes. Well, and women have a tendency sometimes to take on too much and or to globalize things. I think men do that as well, but you just see women, it's just oh my gosh, there's so much. And the way we think, and we carry oftentimes wear so many different hats.
Absolutely. Plus life is just overstimulating. I mean,
yes.
The minute we wake up, we go into memory of all of our problems and the life that we know of who we think we are. And then we walk out the front door and we're just bombarded by life. And
yes.
This is why I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are oh, please let them have that. Please let them cancel those plans on us. We don't want to leave the house now. We just want to just stay hunkered down. And we don't want to deal with any more of what's outside of my front door. It's enough to deal with what's going on within me, much less the external world.
Yes.
So we're just living in a low-grade form of stress constantly, which is not normal for our body. Yes. Our body wants to be able to go into those vacation, rest, and relax mode. but we're just stressed all the time. We eat stressed, we sleep stressed, we live life stressed, and it's just not a long-term way of living. It's just not.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So your method, you have an ACE method along with you use energy tapping. You have your own style to it, which is kind of like EFT, which I've heard of. I'm not an expert in that, but I've certainly heard about that. So tell us a little bit about your technique in helping women to get aligned with who they truly are.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first step is always, the ACE method that I created stands for awareness, connection, extension. And so in your awareness of what's going on, meaning I can't stop thinking about this thing from the past, or this situation that's bothering me, or this symptom of life that I just can't get out of my focus, that's where tapping is a brilliant tool to help us kind of break the trance of that focus and come back to the present moment. And it's when we're in the present moment, we can reconnect within, and we can start to build rapport with our inner senses and build rapport with our own personal, authenticity, and then be able to expand into the world with grace and what I call kind of grit and grace into the world. Because you need a little bit of grit. You can't just be kind of like airy-fairy. You need a little bit of grit. So you expand into the world with grit and grace. So it's awareness of what's triggering you, clear that awareness. And I love tapping, and my style of tapping incorporates a couple of different alternative tools like neuro-linguistic programming and some light hypnosis, different brain states that we can take you in when you're remembering something from the past. Use that to clear up any kind of triggers from awareness from the past. Come into that present moment, start to build that rapport with yourself, and really, what does your hell yes feel like? What does your hell feel like? And start to build from there as to what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and honor that, honor the body's wisdom for that, and then being able to go into the future with, yes, okay, I know what this means for me, and expand. So that's the journey that I take women through. And they kind of windshield wiper, it's a little bit of a wobble. You might have a lot of confidence, and then one day, boom, next thing you know, something triggers you and you're back over here. But the journey is, if you think of it linearly, like you're always kind of making strides. You go back and forth, but you're making there, but you're going to go back and forth. So my version of tapping, I just call energy tapping, because our bodies are energy. We've got rivers of energy called meridians that run through the body. And there's hundreds of energy points all over the body. And some have created a protocol called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. There's others that have fast or EFT, another has VSET, free fast, another thought field therapy. There's lots of different approaches to engage the body's energy system. You could even go to acupuncture and be able to have needles put into your energy body. All of it, and the main goal of it, is to be able to circulate the energy body. Circulate it, because our energy is energy emotion. We want to be in fluid motion all the time. So I just call it energy tapping, and I just tap on a few points. I specifically like the points that are associated with the fight or flight meridians of the body. So the ones I like to use are kind of, between your eyebrows, which is the bladder meridian. It represents emotional trauma. And then on the side of the eye is the gallbladder, represents anger. Under the eye is the stomach meridian. It represents anxiety. And then you tap on your collarbones. It's the kidney meridian. It represents fear. And so those are the really big powerhouses of fight or flight: emotional trauma, anger, anxiety, and fear. But like I said, there's hundreds of other points, and there's lots of different approaches that people have and how to, regulate, correct, heal, transform, whatever, insert whatever kind of healing word you want there with working with your energy body.
Got it. So how does it work?
So great question. So I call it the 3 M's of tapping. Tapping is rooted in Chinese medicine, which means that we have an energy body. So there's a momentum to our energy body. That's the first M of my 3 M's of tapping, is momentum. You think a thought, there's momentum of energy behind that thought. You might even think about the time that you were sitting at a red light in your car and you really wanted it to be green, and you're like, come on, come on, come on, come on. You're not going anywhere, but you could feel that revving of energy in your body. So there's momentum of energy in your body when you think something. As well as the second M of tapping is meaning. You've given meaning to what that looks like in your mind. If you've seen it as a movie, or you watch a picture that you have recorded, or Maybe it's a voice or a sound or a noise that you always never forgot what your mother said when she said that thing to you. Can you still hear it in her tone of voice? And she said it to you one time or two times, but it was so intense in your interpretation of it, you've never forgotten it. You've recorded it and you've held on to it. Or maybe you've got it as some type of a recorded program or pattern of how your body knows how to do a migraine or a stomach ache or some other pain or symptom that you have, whether it's emotional, mental, physical in your body. So the second M of tapping is meaning. We give meaning to everything that trips us up. It's I hear a song on the radio. Oh, now the next thing you know, I'm having that old boyfriend in my mind, and oh, that was a bad thing. You know, or we smell something. We go, oh, Grandma used to make those cookies. It smells so good. So we have triggered, and then we have meaning to those triggers. That's the second M of tapping. And the third M of tapping is memory, meaning that our body has autopilot. It's like when you get in your car. Do you have to plug into the GPS and go to take me to the grocery store? No, you just get in your car and you just go. How do you know where to go? Because you've done it enough times the body goes, hey, I got this, Nicole, don't worry about it. We'll get you there. And just, will you go do something else? Talk on the phone, listen to the radio, chew gum, whatever you want to do, I'll get you there. So what tapping does is regulates the momentum of your energy body. It helps you detach from the meaning that you've given that thing that might you go, oh, I just don't like that what they said to me. I don't like, oh, that thing that I saw that I don't want to, I can't unsee that now. Or how my body is now memorized to know every time I hear that song, I get angry, or every time I see that person, I get anxious. It just helps you to be able to reprogram the body, to be able to detach from any of those neural pathways and those types of patterns or cycles that the body goes through. The tapping addresses all three things because it's rooted in Chinese medicine, so it regulates the momentum of the energy body. It's aligned with modern psychology, which is we think, we learn, we communicate, all the meaning that we give things, which helps us detach from that specific meaning. And then it also helps us to be able to break the memory, the memorization of the patterning and the cycles that we go through and how we react to certain things.
Got it. Very interesting, and thank you for describing it that way. It's very clear to visualize it. So when you work with women, what are some of the common things that keep coming up for women in terms of the common issues that you help them solve?
Yeah, sure. So I think, as you mentioned earlier, like we as women, we want to just be the nurturers and the fixers, and we see everyone's potential, and we want to help them live to that potential, or we're going to be the fixers. But we do that to a degree of can be anywhere to any degree of self-betrayal. It could be a minimal degree or a very significant degree, and wherever you are on that spectrum, it will really demonstrate to me what kind of symptoms your body has. Maybe you have an emotional symptom. Maybe you have a mental symptom. Maybe you have a physical symptom. And so I help women come to me with all different kinds of symptoms. I'm in a relationship conflict where I've given and given and given, and now I've got cancer. And now I don't know what to do about that because I'm still having to take care of this family, and I'm sick and they're in denial about it. And what do I do? Because I need to take care of myself, but I've never put myself first. Or a woman who had chronic fatigue and was on the couch for the last 9 years, not able to express her needs authentically to her partner, and was just literally deteriorating because she just could never get the words out. Someone with fears and phobias, can't drive over bridges, can't go into elevators, can't be in their car by themselves. Now, a lot of people who just have chronic work stress. I mean, I deal with a lot of corporate women who are in the workplace who just have a lot of pressures and expectations that they take personally. I think the thing with women is we take so much of life personal because we think it gives us part of a sense of our identity and who we think we are. And so no matter what the context is, we're taking it so deeply personally. And it's hard for us to have that kind of wall of differentiation. So they come to me with a lot of these symptoms, like I said, either emotional symptoms, mental symptoms, physical symptoms. They could have sciatic, they could have migraines, they could have cancer, they could have a bad job, they could have a job where they go in every day and their boss doesn't like them, or they're having conflict with their coworkers, or they're divorced 3 times, or they want to get divorced. There's a lot of different symptoms, but it really comes down to where are you on that spectrum of when did you stop being a child? And when did you stop exploring life with curiosity and allowing people to do things for you? were you a woman who became an adult very quickly when you were a child, or were thrown into that role? And in that mode, we go into that nurturing, I'll take care of everything, I'll fix everything. So I help women kind of go back to wherever they are stunted from and unravel that energy in their body, whether it's the momentum of that energy because they feel the intensity of it, or it's the meaning that they've given it with the storylines that they go back to the past. They've got all these memories from the past. They go, but my father did it this way, or my ex-husband did it this way, or that last job was this. Or they go into real, body cycles and patterning, which is, the body's sharing with us what's going on. I have a broken arm. I've got this other symptom, whatever it might be. We go into those symptoms because there is an emotional core component to every physical manifestation that's happening in the body. But so much of it comes for women down to, where have I forfeited my needs, and how do I learn to put myself first in an authentic way that's, going to honor it's a very uncomfortable process for a lot of people who've never really put themselves first. But once they build some momentum of it on their own, then it's, they gain some comfort and stability with that. So.
Yeah, I remember years ago, I was working really, really hard, and things started to fall apart in our business, at a family business, and my health started to fail. And actually, when I think about it, it actually started a long time before then. Little things coming up. I mean, I never had allergies, and then I was in grade 12 and I started to have all these allergies. What's that about? And I later on, so coming back to this, so I had all these things going on, and I didn't know where they were coming from. And the first thing that I did was try to solve it with physical, like, okay, eat healthier, do certain things like that. Yeah. So I did all that. Well, because that's what doctors and even naturopathic doctors would say. Well, do this, or, you're allergic to all these things, and so you got to eliminate those from your diet. Okay, done. Did that. Now I'm still, I'm still experiencing, I'm better, but I'm still experiencing some of the symptoms. And there was like this plateau that I got to. And then I went to the next thing and trying that modality and the next thing. And so I got to this point where I realized this is an emotional issue. It's got to be an emotional, because I've tried everything else. It's got to be this emotional issue. And where, when I looked at what was happening and layered it on top of it, just saying, wow, what was happening in my life in that moment when all this was going on? And I went, oh, okay. So then what do I need to deal with on that level? It's like Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And she talks about that. And I have looked in it, even when people tell me they have a certain ailment or whatever, friends or family or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking in there and going, okay, does that sound about right? And it's like it nails it every single time for myself and for others. And it's so amazing. And so when we realize this, then we can get to the solution a lot faster than trying to put a Band-Aid on it. And then not knowing how to do it. Now, you talk about the mental, emotional, different elements of it. You say maybe it's a mental issue, it's an emotional issue. But either way, the energy work still clears that. So do you talk them through that? Do you work with, I know some energy healers who will just, like, they do body work, strictly body work session. And I've had it done on me. And initially I was kind of skeptical, I'm like, oh, okay, what is this? Right. And, and then as I was doing it, I was like, or as they were doing it, I shouldn't say I wasn't doing anything. Also, I was like, wow, this really made a difference for me. And then appreciating how the body works, going, that makes sense. My intellectual mind kicks in and goes, yeah, that makes sense. That's how the body works. So how do you do that with people? Like, do you work them through, talking them through the process and then use it, or yeah,
great question. So I have clients that are either very, very chatty, meaning that they haven't had someone to be able to be a compassionate presence in their life, so they want someone to hear their story. And I can do that for them while using tapping to help us process and clear and move that energy through. It just comes in the form of, it looks like this, it sounds like this, it feels like this, and they want to talk. Other people come to me and they don't really have a story. They just have a symptom. And it could mean, well, it always means that we are a walking belief system of emotional habits from the past that are locked into our cellular level of our 3D energetic body. So I also do something called TRE, which is trauma and tension release exercises, which is a body shaking. So I help be a co-regulator with my clients to be able to help their nervous system down-regulate from that heightened stress response, where they may have had it for 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whoever knows however long their body may have been stuck in a stress response, and be able to down-regulate the body back to a place of rest and digest. And I like to use that for people who have a lot of physical symptoms, like I said, like sciatic or other real physical issues, or just people that don't have a story to tell or don't want to go and talk about a story, but really want to let their body do this natural recovery process. You know, if you have a pet, and you might have noticed when your dog hears a loud noise, it starts to shake a little bit, you know, and why it does that is because their nervous system is completely overwhelmed. And it doesn't know what else to do other than just dump out this excess overwhelm. It starts to shake it. So that way it can come back to normal. In our humanness, we have a judgment and opinion of what that looks like. And so we stop ourselves from having this very natural response to stress. Because, someone might look at us and judge us to say, you have Parkinson's or epilepsy, or you're nervous, or you're scared, and we don't want that humiliation on us. So we don't allow the body to do this very natural thing. So if you come to me and you're heavy into your story and you want someone to be a compassionate, co-regulator with you and validating your story and moving through the energy, we do some energy tapping. You come to me and you don't really have so much to say, but you've got an issue, we'll go from kind of the bottoms up, more of the body, and helping the body be able to regulate and feel some relief. So either way, and sometimes both.
You bring up an interesting point when you said about the shaking of the dog. I noticed for myself in different situations, I shake. It's like, and it was an indication for me. It's like something's going on. I don't know what it is, but something's not right about this. Something about me, the way I'm showing up, or there's something not being said, or something in this conversation is making me feel really, or this environment is making me feel really nervous. It's not just when, for example, like when I maybe don't eat something for a long period of time and find my blood sugar level, that happens then too, right? But doesn't happen that often. I don't usually get it to that point, but I have had that experience a couple of times to know what that feels like. And you're right. It's like we make this wrong. Like this shouldn't be this way. You're shaking. Why are you shaking? And now I've gotten to this point where it's like, okay, I'm shaking. Why am I shaking? What is it that is needing to be released or shifted in this? What's blocking, the flow in this moment? So very interesting.
Nothing's being blocked. It's just a very natural response to being overstimulated. The body always wants to calm down. We are the ones that lock up the stuff that we are thinking, feeling, perceiving, experiencing. And because it's like we just don't give ourselves the time to do the processing that's necessary to be walking and talking as an integrated, fully authentic, fully aware human being. Life just doesn't afford us that time, because we get up out of the morning, we just shoot ourselves like a cannon out of the house, and we're just going as fast as we possibly can before we get home. We're like, oh my gosh. So the body just bears down with everything. It's like, okay, that happened. Okay, I'll just put that here. Okay, that happened. Okay, put that here. Okay, put that here. I don't have time to deal with that right now. Okay, just bang it. You just move through the day as fast as you can with all those little fixes about things. Instead of saying, this is the one thing. Okay, let me just stop and process that. We don't have time. We don't give ourselves the time. We really need to give ourselves permission to slow down more, because our bodies are not meant to be going as fast as the evolution of our thinking mind has created us to be able to go. We're not able to keep up with supercomputers. Our body needs a little bit more time to process. So all the pain and disease, the emotional pain, physical pain, mental pain that you might be experiencing, all are symptoms of the body saying, hey, I need more time to process. And hey, it's no judgment. Some people need more time than others because some people are deeper, have more capacity to feel than others. That's just the way that it is, you know? There's some people who just live life by these very hard and fast rules where they're just kind of like gripping onto the side of the pool and they're like just gripping and gripping and gripping. And then meanwhile, other people are like out there trying to learn how to swim and, you know, maybe two hands. Oh, and I'm going to float over here. Oh, I'm going to swim back to the side of the pool. But, you know, those people who are living hard and fast where they're just stuck to their ways. I mean, these are people who have heart attacks, who have like fast, you know, moving diseases that move through them because there's so much resistance in their body to allowing more of a fluid expression of having to being able to or experiencing process. Process meaning we've got to feel it. We've got to go through the experience of it, not just be gripped on and just lock it down.
Millennials think fast, move fast, they process so much faster. Do you notice that this is different for them or that they're able to process through this faster? Obviously they're younger, so they haven't maybe haven't experienced as much as somebody who's twice their age. And I say maybe because some of them have experienced quite a lot, even at a young age. And we don't know what's traumas and experiences people have as children. But just the fact that they move fast and all this, you know, is it different for them? Are they able to process through faster or slower? Because they're also, in many ways, more disconnected because they're so really hot to their phones.
And that is why they're able to move faster, is because they found a way to cope with the lack of connection. And it is not a healthy thing.
That's a train wreck we're waiting to happen. Yeah,
I think so too. I think it is going to implode. Because as humans, biologically, we need to be connected to other humans. This whole social media and being connected to your phone and texting your mother in the other room or texting your friends and being on, this is not a human-to-human interaction connection. And while it has made us be a global society to be able to be connected to everyone, every time, every place, the connection itself is not in a biological way where we're able to perceive someone's regulated heartbeat. We're able to perceive someone's body temperature, a real energetic sense about them. We don't really capture all of their facial expressions. We're not able to really hear the tones of voice, those inflections and tones of voice that help the body calm down. You know, there's a difference if I look at you like meanly and sternly and I'm using those bottom part of my face, or if I like excited and like lighten up the top of my face, like your body's going to react differently to that. Your body's going to react differently if I give you a harsh tone of voice or if I give you a sweet, pleasant tone of voice. Your body's going to react even differently if you're sitting next to me and my heartbeat is regulated and say yours was beating and now mine's next to you, well, yours is going to regulate along with mine. We don't get that they don't get that interaction because they're so heavily focused on technology. They've missed out on that. And I think that this whole movement around getting more local and doing things locally is really going to force them to come out of their phones and into the biology of connection that their body is craving. This is why they're getting into, you know, there's like a big CBD thing and everyone's smoking pot now. It's like, we're not meant to be numbed out all the time. We're meant to be really alive in our body safely. And we need to figure out how to connect and communicate with other people. I mean, this is evolution. You know, we're talking about evolution here. When we talk about, you know, back when we were fish, our survival strategy was to freeze. That was the only survival strategy the fish has. And then we evolved to grow limbs on our body where we could run away or fight. And now as humans, we've evolved to be able to have communication. And we can have language, which means we should be able to be immobile without fear around another human being. When we were animals, everything was just like, do I rip you apart, or like, how do I exist with you? You know, so we have evolved to have this communication as our most modern survival strategy, and that of social engagement, being able to socially engage, but in a real biological body-to-body way. And technology, like I say that, you know, the evolution of our thinking mind has taken us off of the body, up into the light years of the future. And we need to come back onto the body and learn how to connect, because all of the pain and disease, emotional, mental, physical pain and disease that we experience is all because we're disconnected with ourselves and disconnected with each other. And we need to learn to experience that now in ways that are going to make us feel fulfilled and satisfied and connected, which is what we're all looking for. You know, everybody wants love. Well, this is how you get it. You know?
Yeah. And when you think of texting, and there's so much offense. I had this recently. I posted something on Facebook, and I got all these comments. It was somebody that I was saying, wow, you know, this is what they're doing or whatever. And it was basically saying, I know not everybody likes this person, but, you know, and not everybody, you know, relates to this person. And this person has had a huge impact in my life. And so all the comments that came back were like all this, you know, I don't like this person. This is what happened to me, blah, 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 and so forth. And it was a very interesting exercise in human behavior kicking in, because everybody was getting offended. And the funny thing is and they were like, well, you know, and then I ended up deleting the post because I was like, I do not have all day to spend dealing with all this, right? I'm like, okay, just never mind. And I actually had somebody privately message me afterwards and say, you know, I feel really hurt that I wasn't able to put my comment out there. Now I had responded to her comment, but hers just happened to be the last comment before I deleted the post, right? So she probably didn't see my comment. Anyway, the reason why I say that, it was like, she was like, I was really hurt, and I felt like I can't comment and I can't say what I need to say on a post. And I was like, so how did we get there, right? And so it was just really interesting. But what I also noticed in that was how much people are saying, well, I need to be able to say what I think about this. And I'm thinking, yeah, but it was my post, right? So in the process of you wanting to be validated for your own opinion, you actually invalidated my experience.
Well, everyone is selfishly going through this experience. I call it the throwing up phase of connection, which is, you have been so suppressed, not you, but we have been so suppressed for our authentic voice that when we have an opportunity, because someone else has shared their authentic voice, then you've given me permission to express myself. And I'm going to express myself in whatever way that I want now, because now I've got some bravado or some extra little confidence boost. And it's going to come out like, what? You know, we want it to be able to be expressed with, you know, with compassion and thoughtfulness and grace. But in the beginning stages, when you're first coming into authenticity with yourself and wanting to express yourself, it comes out like you're throwing up on people. And you're like, wait a minute, this was my post. This is what I was trying to share. But in your vulnerability, you gave people permission in your audience to do the same at whatever level of the spectrum that they were at, and their readiness to be able to connect with themselves and express themselves. And it came across probably in a whole barrage of ways that you're like, whoa, what does this all look? This is a lot.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, you just described social media right there. In large part.
This is what I do, is I help people shepherd them through that process. And it's a lot of, it looks like I have anxiety. It looks like I have this phobia. It looks like I've got this disease. It looks like I have this bad marriage. It looks like I have this problem, this conflict. And all what it comes down to is helping you find your own authentic voice, being able to safely express it to the world with self-honoring boundaries, and hold to that to be able to live with, like, you know, with comfort and confidence in life, and expand in the world that you choose, not the one that you were just grew into, that you've got habits that you live through. You can break all those old habits, those emotional habits, and those old stories.
Yeah. Now I even more so understand why your website is called transformedconnections.com, because it's the connection with myself, me having a connection with me, and then me having a connection with, and quality connections and transformed connections with the people around me. So absolutely. I love that. Well, so
you can't connect outside of yourself in any real way that's not grabbing, unless you're connected within. Yeah. And people say, oh, you have to love yourself. Well, that's tough when you hate yourself and when you don't feel worthy. So let's package that in a new way for yourself. And let's let those old experiences of the past where you believe that negative about yourself, and tapping can help us shift those things out of your experience and be able to come into a sense of yourself. And then write down your top 20 qualities. Like, I'm really good at making scrambled eggs. You want scrambled eggs? Come to my house. I'm really, really good at it, you know? I cannot sew a sock to save my life, so don't come to me with holes in your socks, but I know what I'm good at, you know? I like folding laundry. I like to do, I like getting gas in the car. Like, there's a few things I like to do, and those make me feel good about myself. You have to start small to start rebuilding that rapport with yourself, to appreciate who you are. And the next thing you know, there'll be a bigger thing like, oh, I can create a program. I can offer this as a service to the world. And you'll start to build momentum in a direction that's really based on you knowing who you are, believing in yourself, not caring what anybody else thinks, and expressing it in that way.
I love that. This is funny. Yeah. Scrambled eggs. You can come to my house for scrambled eggs.
Simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. I mean, people are like, oh, they like rack their brain. Like, they have to like create the next, Grand Canyon. I'm like, no. Let's
start somewhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Start somewhere small.
Yeah.
You're having a bad day and you're really angry. Just walk around saying butterflies, rainbows, flowers. You can't be mad when you do that. You start saying words that don't match how you feel, and notice how fast your feelings change.
Yeah. The pattern interrupted right there. I love it. So
whatever.
Yeah. So people go to your website, transformconnections.com. They can schedule. So you do one-on-one sessions.
I offer a free 30-minute breakthrough discovery call with me.
Okay.
Get on. I'm ready to be a listener for you. Tell me where you're at. Tell me what's going on. We can have a mini tapping experience if you'd like. I can share with you more about my private transformation mentoring. I work with women one-on-one. I do 3-month packages, 6-month packages, kind of get you over the hump, or really kind of get you on the road, or you want to do a whole year, we can do that too. I also have a 30 days to relieve anxiety and quit overthinking. So that's a quick, 30 days, and really gets people on the road, build yourself a little stress relief toolbox, and, teach yourself some things to be able to really help yourself in the moment. But it's either a 30-day program, or we can do something more one-on-one mentoring.
Love it. Suzanne, thank you so much. This has been fun and enlightening. It's been really enlightening. And I love having people like yourself on the show where I can learn from you and apply it in my own life. And then of course we can share it with our guests, and hopefully they'll get some insight. And I'm sure this is one of those ones that, is going to be very enlightening for women in particular, but of course men as well experience this. But I know you work with predominantly with women. So for our listeners, go to transformedconnections.com, and we'll make sure that's in the show notes so that you can connect with Suzanne and the tools and resources she has to be able to help you through the process of having more confidence, relieving that anxiety, relieving that stress that you've got, so you can have more fun and live the life that you deserve, and build better connections with the people around you, and get out of that rat race of, reaction and so forth. So we encourage you that. We'd love to hear your stories. I believe leaders of transformation take action. Do something today to take action, to start applying what you've learned. We'd love to hear your stories. You can go on leadersoftransformation.com. You can find us on social media, or just reach out to me directly. I really love to hear those stories. So thanks very much for being here, Suzanne. Thank you for being here. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Leaders of Transformation real soon.